Deep inside your body, right now, there's this hidden communication network that's basically running the show. It's controlling everything from your mood to how fast you burn energy. It's one of the most powerful systems you have, and today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it all works.
Really think about that for a second. How does your brain tell your bones to grow, or your kidneys when to hold on to water? It's not magic, right? It's this incredibly intricate, body-wide messaging system, and figuring out how it talks to itself is our whole mission here.
All right, here's the game plan. First, we'll get a feel for the system as a whole. Think of it as the body's wireless network. Then, we'll meet the bosses in the command center. After that, we'll see how it regulates itself, get to know the key chemical messengers, and finally, wrap up with its ultimate goal, keeping you in perfect balance.
So let's kick things off with this idea. Imagine your body has its own wireless network, but instead of Wi-Fi signals, it's broadcasting chemical signals all throughout your bloodstream, reaching every single corner of your body. That, right there, is the endocrine system in a nutshell.
And the messages flying around on this network, they're called hormones. These are chemical signals made by very specialized glands, and they're sent out on a mission to tell different tissues and organs all over the body what to do and when to do it. It is just an incredibly elegant way to coordinate really complex actions.
Now, you might be thinking, hey, wait a minute, isn't that what the nervous system does? And yeah, you're right, but they work in totally different ways. The nervous system, that's like a direct, hardwired connection. You see it on the right. It's a super fast electrical signal to a specific target. The endocrine system, on the left, is more like a radio broadcast, a chemical signal sent out into the bloodstream that can hit a whole bunch of different organs at once for a big, widespread, coordinated effect.
And these hormone messengers, they're not one-size-fits-all. They actually come in three main chemical flavors. You've got your peptides, your steroids, and your amino acid derivatives. And this chemical variety is absolutely crucial because it lets them interact with cells in all sorts of different ways and carry a huge variety of messages.
Okay, so every massive, complex system needs a headquarters, a command center, right? Well, for the endocrine system, that command center is tucked away deep inside the brain. It's called the hypothalamus-pituitary axis.
Let's use an analogy here because it makes it so much clearer. Think of the hypothalamus as the CEO of this whole operation. It's at the top, constantly gathering intel from all over the nervous system. Then, based on all that information, it gives orders to its top deputy, the pituitary gland. And the pituitary acts as the general manager, sending out the specific instructions to the rest of the body's glands.
But this general manager, the pituitary, is actually split into two departments with very different jobs. The anterior lobe, on the left, is connected by its own special blood vessel system, and it acts like a factory, making and releasing its own hormones based on the CEO's orders. The posterior lobe, on the other hand, is more like a warehouse. It's a direct extension of the hypothalamus that just stores and releases hormones that were actually made up in the CEO's office.
Now, a system this powerful could easily go haywire. So, how does it keep itself in check? How does it prevent itself from spiraling out of control? The answer is this brilliant little engineering concept called a feedback loop.
The whole thing is just this continuous, beautiful loop. The hypothalamus sends a signal, the pituitary releases a hormone, and that hormone tells a target gland somewhere else to produce its own hormone. But here's the genius part. The hypothalamus is always listening. It senses the level of that final hormone in the blood, and if it gets too high, it just scales back the initial signal. It's literally the body's own thermostat, always making tiny adjustments to keep everything in balance.
Okay, so we've seen the network and we've met the command structure. Now let's meet some of the actual messengers and see what kinds of missions they're being sent on.
This table here shows the orders coming directly from the CEO, the hypothalamus. And notice, it doesn't just send stimulate or go signals. It also sends inhibit or stop signals. So for example, corticotropin-releasing hormone tells the pituitary to send out the stress hormone ACTH, but at the same time, dopamine tells it to hold back on prolactin. This gives the body an incredible amount of precise control.
So let's follow that first command for ACTH. This hormone is basically the primary manager for your body's entire stress response. When the pituitary releases ACTH, it zips down to the adrenal glands sitting right on top of your kidneys, and the order is simple. Release cortisol, the famous stress hormone that gets your body ready for that fight-or-flight situation.
Next up is TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone. Its mission is to manage the thyroid gland, which is in your neck. TSH not only keeps the thyroid healthy, but it's the one that tells it when to release its own hormones, and those are the master regulators of your metabolism, determining how quickly your body burns through energy.
Then we've got this dynamic duo, luteinizing hormone, or LH, and follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH. These two, they work as a team to run the reproductive system. They respond to a single command from the hypothalamus, and they are absolutely essential for regulating sex hormones, controlling ovulation in women, and sperm production in men.
Another huge player is growth hormone, or GH. Now, while it's famous for stimulating growth, especially when you're a kid, it has a critical second job. GH also helps regulate your metabolism by telling your body to burn fat for energy, which is really, really important when you're fasting. Okay, now prolactin is a really interesting case. Its main gig is to stimulate milk production after childbirth. But what's so unique about it is how it's regulated. See, for most hormones, the hypothalamus says, go. For prolactin, the default signal is stop, and it sends that signal using dopamine. The go signal only happens when that stop signal gets taken away. Pretty clever, right? And finally, we swing back to that storage warehouse, the posterior pituitary. It releases two critical hormones that were actually made by the hypothalamus. First is vasopressin, also known as ADH, which is crucial for balancing your body's water levels by talking to your kidneys. And the second is oxytocin, often called the love hormone, which is famous for its role in childbirth and bonding.
So after all of that complexity, all the different glands, the feedback loops, the dozens of messengers, what's the ultimate point of it all? What's the end game? Well, it all comes down to one crucial biological concept. This quote from our source material just nails it. The entire purpose of this intricate dance is to maintain homeostasis, a stable, balanced internal environment. Your body is constantly adjusting, using this entire system to make sure everything stays within the very narrow range that's required for you to thrive.
And that really leaves us with one final thought. As you're sitting here listening to this, your endocrine system is working hard. Hormones are managing your blood sugar, your stress levels, your alertness. So the real question isn't if your body is talking to itself, but which of its many chemical messengers are you listening to in this very moment?